Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Ticket. I'm Bobby Stapleton, Senior Director of Human Support here at Intercom. Today, I'm joined by my boss, Declan Ivory, VP of Customer Support, for Episode 2 to Fin Conversations. Fin Conversations is our behind the scenes of what it's like to lead the CS team at Intercom, all the real stuff, the messy stuff, the exciting stuff, and what it means to lead a support team during this time of AI transformation. So, Declan, thanks so much for joining me today.
Hi, Bobby. Delighted to be here. I love the whole concept behind conversations, and I'm really looking forward to us having a very productive and hopefully insightful conversation today.
Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to have you on today was to talk about this new body of work that we're launching, the AI Agent Blueprints. And you've been heavily involved in this work. And so tell us a little bit about what is the AI Agent Blueprint and why is this something that we needed for the customers and for the market?
Maybe I'll start with the why first and then talk about the what of the blueprint. So I think the why was pretty simple. Like, as you know, we've been on this journey of what we call AI first or AI transformation over a number of years. And when we started out on this journey, there was no blueprint. There was no kind of best practice guidance. Like, we had to kind of almost create things as we went along around the best way of implementing an AI agent, how you would get most effective use of the agent. And really, a lot of our customers have turned to us on many, many occasions asking us, so how did you go about it? What did you do? So the concept behind the blueprint was really trying to take the learnings that we've had and also the learnings from our customers who are also on this journey with us and provide a guide for people so they didn't have to start from scratch. We're at a stage now where there is a level of maturity, even though things are obviously still advancing at quite a pace in the AI world, but there's still a level of maturity where we can actually provide really good guidance to customers and prospects around how they think about deploying an AI agent and what the key considerations are that they need to take into account. So yes, we can actually begin to really publish best practice and have kind of as a blueprint, as we've branded it, for people when they're thinking about deploying an AI agent. So that's the why. The how, as I say, is really capturing all of the learnings that we've had and that our customers have had. So we've leaned a lot on our customers as well when we put the blueprint together, and really kind of hopefully shortcut for people the things that they need to consider, the kind of trade-offs they might need to make when they're thinking about deploying an agent, what they need to focus on in terms of understanding the performance and the business impact of the agent. So yeah, the how is really around, making a very clear roadmap for people around how to implement an AI agent. And we've broken it into kind of two kind of phases. One is kind of launch it, so your initial implementation of an AI agent, and then scale it where you're scaling it out over time to get more business benefit from using AI agent technology.
That's so cool. And by the time this podcast goes live, the blueprint will be live. So, and it's starting off as a website, but I thought I overheard you say it's also going to be like a physical book as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to make sure that we're making this information available as easily as possible for people. So yeah, website is obviously going to be our primary delivery mechanism, particularly as this is going to be a living document. It's not just a kind of a static view of a blueprint. As I say, AI is changing, so we want to be able to update it on a regular basis. But we're also conscious that very often just having a physical copy of something like this is important. So yeah, we're going to kind of produce booklets, hopefully distributed at various events so that people get access to the content very easily. But overall, it is a living document, and we're probably going to talk a little bit more about that as we go through the discussion today. Yeah,
definitely. And you mentioned working with customers on developing this blueprint, and I know you spend a lot of your time talking with customers, talking with prospects about this space, about how to get started, about why they should even be considering an AI agent. Tell us a little bit about some of the areas that you've included in the launch it section, like you said, which is the getting started section for AI. What have you included there, and what are some of the top topics that people should definitely be checking out?
Yeah, so when it comes to the launch it phase, there's a couple of things that we need to kind of really look at, and our customers have done the same thing. At the end of the day, it's not AI for AI's sake, which I think is kind of a mantra that I've had for a while. And the starting point, in the launch phase is really understanding what's the business problem you're trying to address. Like even that launch phase where you're trying to, validate that AI will actually be good for your business. You still have to have a business problem that you're trying to solve. It's not just a technology deployment. So really kind of centering and focusing on what that business problem is kind of the first challenge when you're thinking about an AI agent. Then obviously you got to think about how do you evaluate an AI agent? What are the things you should be looking for when considering an agent technology? And how do you do that evaluation in a really deep way that's kind of making sure you're going to make the right decision when it comes to the technology, and then how do you actually deploy it as well, because I say it is a change management activity when you think about it. Like, it's not just about putting in a piece of technology. It changes how you interface with your customers. It changes what happens in the balance of your support team. Like, well, Bobby, that from a human support perspective, things change a lot when you have an AI agent in the mix, and you got to think about all of these things through the launch phase. And our customers have gone through this in terms of their organization. They have points of view and perspectives on what makes sense for their business when it comes to choosing that initial business problem to solve. And a lot of our customers have shared that, and we're bringing out some of those data points and anecdotes through the blueprint. And also we link through to lots of our other customer stories on the website, where some of our customers go into even deeper perspectives on what they have tried to solve from a business perspective, and why Finn, our AI agent, has really helped them address those business problems.
Yeah, and it's such a good point that so many people may get involved, may start that search for an AI agent for different reasons, whether it's because their C-suite told them to, whether it's because they're trying to figure out how to keep up with demand, whether it's because they've seen that their competition is doing it and they know that there's something there for the customer experience. But it's such a daunting process. It's not the same as buying a project management tool or buying a workforce management software. There's so many elements, and even trying to figure out how to wrap your head around not only the software, but the costs and the benefits, building the business case. Like, it is really hard. And so I think having the guidance, and again, not just from us, like anybody who claims to be an expert in this space is probably lying to you a bit. Like, there's so much, like, we're all figuring this out together. And I love that the blueprint really captures that spirit of, it's like, here's our lessons and our point of view, but again, what our customers themselves have gone through and their advice on it too. So it's a really great blend of that.
And particularly for the launch phase, like the kind of phrase that I have in the back of my mind is like, don't try and boil the ocean. Like, you can't solve every business problem, in a launch phase. You've got to really pick what's the most important or critical business problem that you want to solve to kind of prove out that AI is actually going to deliver for your business. And that's why breaking into this kind of launch and scale phases, I think, is really important and really helpful for customers when they're thinking about an AI agent project.
Yeah, it's really helpful framing. Okay, so let me throw a spicy question at you. Like, why should people listen to us? And like, why is our blueprint going to be better than some of the other things that we've seen floating around on LinkedIn or online?
Yeah. I think the key reason why I think this is a really valuable blueprint is that the contributors here have been all practitioners. It's our own team here in the customer support organization at Intercom. It's a lot of our customers who've gone through this journey as well. So it's really grounded and built on experience, right? So this is not theoretical. Like, this is actually based on practical experience. In our case, over two and a half years at this stage, since we kind of decided we were going down this AI driven, as we termed it initially, and now AI first approach. So we've put a lot of thought and effort into how do you actually approach this? How do you actually implement an AI agent? In our case, Finn from Intercom, and our customers have obviously gone down the same path. So the fact that it's built on really practical experience, I think, makes this a really, really valuable blueprint. Like, I've looked at many blueprints out there, or frameworks, and they tend to be a little bit theoretical, right?
Yeah.
They're not grounded in experience. And I think that's the value that we bring through this particular blueprint initiative. It is very much grounded in practical experience across not just what we've done ourselves here at Intercom, but also our customers as well. Like, they have leaned in heavily to help shape this blueprint and ensure that it's adding value for customers and prospects.
Yeah, it's not just a piece of content like made by a marketing team and shipped off into the world, or like you said, a theoretical written by a product team, but it's different when it's an actual support leaders or support managers who are in the trenches doing this, implementing it, having to think about how to message it out to the team, how to, like you said, get buy-in from the rest of the company, thinking about that full scale customer experience. Like, those are things that you can only kind of live and know by going through it, and having that kind of be the core of the blueprint, I think is really special.
I think it makes it real. It makes it grounded. Is it going to be the most polished document in the world? Probably not, because I say it's grounded in reality. It's actually sharing what it is like to go on that journey and be on that journey, and it is an evolving journey. And we're going to touch on this. Like, this is a point in time view of how you can deploy an AI agent based on the knowledge and experience that we've gained to date. We continue to learn. Our customers continue to learn, and we want to make sure we're feeding that in and making the blueprint very much a live document and something that will take account of how fast AI is changing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you've been working on this for, I wrote in my notes, some time, which feels like, I think it's been a month and a half, which feels like a very long time at Intercom time these days. But like, I think in a big part due to two different things. One, as you mentioned, how quickly things are constantly changing. I know even early on, some of the focus areas you wanted to include, again, went on to like evolve and to change. But then also secondly, like figuring out the different levels and the audience for this. So yeah, walk us through the behind the scenes of how you've been thinking about that, like how quickly things are changing, then figuring out the audience.
Yeah. So that's they're two really good points. Like, I think part of the challenge when you develop a document like this or a framework like this, that almost as soon as you develop it, you think that, well, something else has changed. I really want to incorporate it. And you could actually be paralyzed into never publishing it because it's never quite up to date, because we've learned something new yesterday that we'd like to incorporate into it. And we had to kind of, take a step back and say, look, there's value in publishing this at a point in time, getting that experience out there. And that took a little bit of effort, I think, on all our parts to really say, look, the cutoff, we want to actually publish it. We know we will iterate on it down the line, but let's get it out there. Let's get feedback. Let's, see how it resonates with our customers and prospects. Is it adding value? Are there things that we've missed, etc.? So it really was that kind of, ship and learn kind of approach. Like, it took a little bit of time to really understand, okay, if we keep waiting, there's always new stuff we can put in here because we're learning all the time, right? Or we're announcing new products, new capabilities that we'd love to factor in and talk about in the blueprint. And that will happen over time. So that was kind of part of the learning around understanding there's value in just getting this out there, point in time view, based on our experiences over the last couple of years, but we will iterate on it. In terms of audience, like there's always that tension between someone who is maybe taking a more executive view of AI and how does it impact customer experience, customer service. So it may be a customer service leader, maybe a customer experience leader, it may be an AI strategist. So we very much wanted to make sure that at a high level, this document would resonate with those people, that they could really understand and grasp some of the things you need to think about when looking at an AI agent deployment. But again, this is very much a layered document, so we will link out to lots of other artifacts and documents and data points that will help people who maybe need to go down a deeper level and understand, okay, that's fine. I understand conceptually what the blueprint is about. I understand the framework, but I actually want to go down and get a little bit more nitty gritty about how precisely do you set up Fin? How do you set up the parameters? How do you think about this metric in more detail? And the great thing about this blueprint is we will link out to lots of other artifacts and documents and data points and customer stories, etc. So it'll be very much almost like a map that anyone can use, no matter how high level or how deep you want to go, and they can use this to get access to information that will help them on that journey.
Yeah, I know, like one of the big themes that comes up talking with customers is like getting your content ready. That like an AI agent is really only going to be good as the content that you feed it. And so you could have a conversation with like a Bobby and a Declan about like, okay, when you're thinking about rolling out an AI agents, like you need to plan for doing a content review, filling in those gaps, like what type of content do you want to put into the agent? But then like to your point, there's a whole almost like deeper, the person clicking the buttons, the knowledge center manager who's like, okay, like how do I need to reformat my help center content so it works well, or build up a cadence where we're going to go back and check this. Like that's that deeper click. And so to have the blueprint start at that high level, again, calling out the things that you're going to need to be successful launching an AI agent, but then giving you the actual like day-to-day how to do it. It's all there. It's gonna like answer most of your questions. And I think like it gives it kind of that, like you said, that full kind of altitude comprehensive view.
Yeah, because that was one of our kind of key focus areas, like how can we make sure this is relevant to everyone who has to be involved in a kind of AI strategy or an AI deployment. So the high level executive view is really important, but equally, as you say, the person on the ground who's kind of managed the knowledge and content strategy, they got to be able to get deep in the weeds. And the great thing about this framework is we'll be able to link out so much other content and knowledge, to use a phrase, that it will help them in their role. And the same for any role that you think about in customer service or customer support.
And I know, as I mentioned at the top, I know you spend a lot of time talking to customers and like offering them advice. Do you find that your conversations with them tend to span that like full altitude? And is that, again, is that part of the spirit for the blueprint?
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes conversations change over time. Like conversations maybe a year or two ago would have focused on, well, should I use AI or should I not use AI from a customer service point of view? We've moved well beyond that. It's kind of almost a given. Yeah. Of course I'm going to use an AI agent, but how do I think about, choosing the right agent? How do I think about the deployment approach? And then other things are coming up in conversation now that we will cover later in the blueprint, particularly in the scale section, right? Like, how do I think about my organization structure? How do I think about job roles? Like, how does the support specialist or support engineer role change in this world? What new capabilities or skills do I need to manage AI? Like, there's a whole series of questions that come up. And you're right, it comes from, the ROI or the kind of executive reason why you might want to deploy an agent, all the way down to like, how do I think about structuring my team? How do I think about job roles, etc. Like, and it's fascinating, to have those different altitude conversations, and they come up all the time, which is great. And I say they do evolve as well. I'm looking forward to the next set of kind of questions and discussions that happen with our kind of prospects and customers as AI evolves.
Yeah. Well, that's leads me to my great closer then. So what's next for the blueprint? Like you mentioned, the launch it section is available today. The scale it section's coming next. So yeah, what's next for this space?
Yeah. So, obviously the launch is important, because that allows people to really think about how do they get to deploy AI and show the benefit for their organization. But obviously scale it is where you actually drive the most value. So the scale it part of the blueprint is obviously our next focus. A lot of the content is ready, and hopefully we will publish that pretty quickly as a fast follow from the launch it phase. And that is really, enabling you to really think about how do you put in place the operational processes that allow you to really leverage an AI agent at scale, right? Because all very well to address a single business problem and to get some benefits initially out of AI, but to ultimately drive the long-term benefits from a business point of view. And the mantra we talk about is turning customer service from a cost center into being a value driver. It's when you think about the scale it part of the blueprint, that's where you really begin to get deep on the economic benefits of deploying the agent, how you think about managing, as you say, content on an ongoing basis. How do you look and determine the quality of the experience? Like customer experience is a big topic within the scale it section as well. So some really key topics in there around, scaling, customer experience, about the economics, etc. And, that's where we're going next with the blueprint. Obviously, even at the launch phase, as AI agent technology evolves, we will layer back into the launch phase when we get new learnings around new capabilities are coming out from an agent point of view, which we know are happening all the time just because of the way large language models are changing, how even our own product roadmap is changing over time. And that's the other thing. We had really strong collaboration with our product team as well. We road tested our blueprint with our product team to make sure that, it resonates with them as well. Like, here's what we're saying around deploying an AI technology or an AI product. Does that make sense in terms of how you're seeing our own roadmap evolve, and does it resonate? So that was one of the other key things about this blueprint. Yeah, we very much applied a practitioner lens to it. We got lots of input from our customers, but we also collaborated closely with our product and engineering team, just to make sure this made sense from the core technology point of view, that we're really positioning it correctly.
Yeah, no, it's a good call. And like, I know they're also spending a lot of time talking with customers or talking with prospects. And again, these are the questions that are coming up early in the deal cycle, or again, as people are kicking the tires or trying to figure things out, and having these answers and a guide will be a great starting point. So awesome.
I mean, Bobby, like my final point is, 2 years ago when we decided to implement Fin, or just over 2 years ago, I would have loved to have had this blueprint. It would have made life a lot easier.
It's so true. I take for granted that like we just had to push our way through and figure it out. And then you look back and you're like, oh, it would be kind of nice to be one of those guys just
Yeah,
starting off this now and be like, here's all the lessons learned.
exactly. Yeah.
Very valuable resource. Awesome. Well, Declan, thanks so much for joining to chat through the AI agent blueprint. So excited to see this go live. Folks can find it on fin.ai. We'll have the links in the show notes as well. And yeah, I'll see you at our next meeting. Declan, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Bobby. Great conversation.